Bigme just never seems to let up. Thank you to Bigme for sending us this sample. This is the S6 Color Plus. This features a Kaleido 3 screen, which brings 300 ppi in black and white and 150 ppi in color. Outside of that, there are some preset parameters that Bigme is employing in order to reduce ghosting, but that's pretty much it. This is more of the same, but it's all going to be based around the color screen. So with that, we're going to look at a few things today. Pictures, note-taking, and then get into some speed modes, as that's going to take precedence over the things we usually show. If you guys want to see the full review of this unit, including reading, PDFs, and everything else, check the video card up above, because this is the exact same thing as the S6 Color. However, we have to start it off and look at the pen. This pen is really cool and it's completely unique. It has a pogo pin charger that you only need to charge for the laser pointer at the back, yes, the laser pointer, and the physical page turn buttons to remotely turn pages. You do not need to charge it in order to use the Wacom part. It is a cool pen, it has a ton of features, but it is unwieldy and very clunky. It doesn't really feel natural to hold, and the back is far too heavy to get any realistic writing experience. However, it is running Wacom. You can put any pen you want on this. We'll just briefly touch on the Amazon experience because it has everything under one roof. You can use all of your color content to your advantage and read manga and all sorts of content on Amazon, as you see here in your library and the store itself. You can click on books. Now, books never really look that great on color e-paper because either you have to have the glow light on in order to balance it, or the glow light's off and it's gray. And this is honestly the problem with every single manufacturer. I must say, this isn't as gray as other devices we've seen, but it speaks for itself. You can see the white background here in comparison to the gray screen. That's why it is critical to use the glow light a little bit, and that balances everything out, and then it looks fine. But the Amazon app is something we recommend because it has everything under the sun in terms of an available amount of books that you can choose from. So there's more things on Amazon that you can buy: editorials, magazines, newspapers, books, audiobooks, comics, graphic novels. Everything is on Amazon. So it is a one-stop shop. If you're a Kobo user, you can download Kobo Rakuten. If you're Barnes & Noble, you can do that. You can download the Sony store on here if you wish. They give it up to you to discover exactly what you want on this. Of course, you are running Android, so you have all of your apps in the middle, including Google Play. At the very top here, you have your drop-down that has really everything on here. You do have your glow lights, you have your speed modes, your EINK center, which you're going to live and die by, because this is where all of your speed modes will live, including IMG 256, or as they call it, HD 256. This offers better grayscale, better gradients, a bigger gamut of colors and smoothing that you can really just craft your own experience. They do have vivid enhancement, dark enhancement, and color brightness. This is the preset, so we're going to leave it at the preset. This is the recommended. We're not going to change that, so we can abide by what they recommend. So we're just going to X out of that. On the left here, you have meeting notes, you have notes, library, storage, etc. You can customize this bar as well with whatever you want to see on there. Google Play, of course, is your one-stop shop. Between you guys and me, don't tell anyone, all these companies make stores. Onyx has a store, Hanvon has a store, iReader has a store. They're not very good because Google Play has everything. We're not advocating for Google Play, but it's irrefutable that there's millions and millions of things on here. You don't even have to stick with games. You have apps, you have books, you have audiobooks, you have movies, you can rent blockbuster movies on here and watch them. So there's really no reason to go anywhere else except here, because this is where you're going to get everything. Everywhere else that they give you these little pleasantry stores, they're just Project Gutenberg royalty-free content, whereas Google Play actually has everything you're going to need, from games all the way to kids content. While it is a small screen, the note-taking experience is mucho gusto, and that is Spanish for very good. Been boning up on my Spanish lately. So you do have this laser pointer, which no, it doesn't interact with anything, but it is cool because if you have a presentation, you can be like, okay, right here I did that note. So it's just kind of nice that it's there. And to respect the process, we are going to be using this pen and no other pen. You can customize your pens up top: pen, pencil, brush, ball pen, and highlight, and all of these can be changed to whatever preset you want. So if I want a big line pink pencil, that is what that one's going to be. And the pencil turns pink. If I want ball pen, but I want this ball pen to be, say, yellow medium, and maybe I don't want a ball pen, I want a brush, I now have a yellow brush. And all of these can be toggled between one by one. Unfortunately, no, they don't do tilt, so that's a little bit of a downside. If I want this brush, you can see where I'm going with this, but one final one, to be a light blue, really thick highlighter, I now have my highlighting. Now, what can we do with the note-taking experience here? Well, basically everything. Their shapes might not be as good as Onyx, but everything else is pretty much on par. So aside from pens, you have toolbar, which you can customize. You can go redo and undo. That'll just basically undo and redo what you've done. You have templates here as well, so you can use the ones that are default on there, Office, or ones that you sideload in via local storage. And yes, you can go to blackboard mode. Shapes are very straightforward and you don't get any dots or anything like that, but you can change them, you can stretch them, all that kind of stuff, so that's really cool. Insert is very nice. You can insert text, photo, and an entire page in line with this. You have OCR, which is handwriting to text, so if we go over to a page and we choose a pen, we'll stick with that, and I write my name like that. I would then click this and it's going to go through not only this but the entire unit and transcribe everything on every page. You'll see that my name was written on one of the further pages, so once I go to that, it's going to say my name right there. From here you can click into here and write with the keyboard. The keyboard is very nicely laid out and it's pretty quick. Peter is cool. Doesn't really miss any characters, and it's actually pretty fast even in IMG 256, which is the slowest mode. We do have share and export. You can share various different ways: QR code, verification, and you can share via apps on your unit. So if I have Outlook, if I have Gmail, if I have Facebook Messenger, you can do all that on here. It's completely up to you. You have crop, delete, and encrypt. You can actually encrypt your pages, but you have to log into the Bigme accounts in order to do that, but it is free of using. You also have band slide. I never understand why they call it band slide, but even without band slide, you can still put 5 fingertips on the screen and it works perfectly fine, so you don't have to worry about that. Let's take some notes let's use a brush, and I'm going to go into red with a thick line because it'll be easy to see and it looks the best. This is where we get into a little bit of the controversial side. No color e-reader looks good in its inherent form. None of them. Not an Onyx, not a Pocketbook, nobody. You have to use the glow light. Just take it from me. Look at that. It doesn't look very good. However, if you simply mitigate this by a little bit of glow light, it ends up looking so good. This looks fantastic now. Let's hit a refresh. Look at that. Look how vibrant that looks now. And it's not a bad thing. That's just the way e-paper works, is that it has all these layers on it, including a color array filter that without the glow light to kind of balance everything out, it just looks gray and washed out. But once you do apply a modest amount of glow light, we're not talking the moon all the way cranked to the very end with a warm light mix. This is completely just a little bit of blue, but it makes all the difference. That makes absolutely all the difference, and it changes everything. We can now go into other things like some blues with a lake, for example. Let's pop into this photo for a second. This one looks very good too. You'll see right here that the blues are very vivid. It's very rich and vibrant, and all of this can be changed further using what we showed you before in the EINK Center. You can change the contrasts with the dark enhancement, you can change the saturation with the color brightness, and you can change the vivid enhancement, and all of this is just going to change based on whether you're on normal, extreme, regal, etc. This looks tremendous. A lot of people say that there is no difference between K2 and K3, and that's just simply not true, because K2 maxed out at around approximately 117, 127 ppi. This has greater density at 150. You can't argue with numbers because the numbers don't lie. They don't care about your opinion because 150 is greater than 120 and it's greater than 100. K2 had a huge problem in that it just maxed out at such a blurry pixel density. This one is much nicer. So it is not the easiest thing to say, oh, this is night and day different than K2, because it's not night and day different. It is an upgrade all the same, but it's not going to really break the decision. If you landed on a Kaleido 2 screen, that's okay. But if you do want an irrefutably better color experience that is more vivid and just looks more realistic, Kaleido 3 is the way to go. ChatGPT is obviously the scariest thing on planet Earth because, well, it replaces you as a human being. So all you would do is click on something and say, "Write me a story." After you say "write me a story," it's literally going to take about 3 seconds and just start writing a massive story. I don't even know how kids even want to do book reports anymore. You just copy and paste that. That's a whole full-blown story right there. And ChatGPT is basically artificial intelligence that utilizes everything on the internet and basically caters their answer to whatever you ask it. So if you say, "Hey, give me a timeline on World War II," it will do that. You know, we kind of laughed at the fact that e-paper devices have cameras, but the more you use it, the more point you see in having it. What you would do is just take a picture of something, then click OCR. It's going to recognize every single thing on that photo and put it into a recognizable text. You can see right here. Now, much like the other devices that do this, it's not exactly 100%. It will require you to run in there and make some changes, but the beauty is you can just kind of continue from where it left off, and I must say it does it pretty good. You can then export that. You can either check all, cancel, confirm. You can export it to anywhere via any application you have installed on your unit. Every feature imaginable, a fresh Kaleido 3 screen, and all-new ghost reduction puts this at the top of its class for 7.8-inch K3 units. However, barely anything has changed from the last iteration except for the screen. Although it has Wacom, you can use any pen. The pen that does come with it is a little bit unwieldy and clunky, and the UI is simply just carried over with no identifying features that sets it aside. Overall, honestly, you can't get much better than this. Bigme as a company is consistently releasing devices that are fully loaded with little to no drawbacks in nearly every feature under the sun, so that anything you want it to do, it can.